Alzheimer's drastically changed my entire family's life. Our world turned upside down when my mom was diagnosed. She was 50 years old. I was 14 years old, and my brother was 10 years old. Watching someone you love and who raised you kind of slowly fade away in front of you, in a sense, is really difficult. There were so many big emotions, and looking back in hindsight, I wish there was so much we would have done together, so much I would have said, so much that's no longer on the table, like my wedding and kids, which I know I wish she could have been a part of. So we are dancing for her, we're dancing for a cure, because this disease really does affect so many. It doesn't just affect the person that is diagnosed, it affects the whole family.
So my mom started having the speech aphasia when she was in her late 50s. So I'm not too far from that, which is pretty frightening. It's not, the stigma was that it was an old person's disease and it just came with old age, but that's not true.
I started working for Morgan Stanley in the Atlanta complex last year and just wanted to see how we can help out. So being able to be on the stage and performing and just seeing the crowd and all the support, and then obviously having it tie back to Brian and his mom has just been so special for our family.
My story began with my mother, and she started having what her doctor had called memory issues, which is kind of, I think, a common theme. And a couple years later, it kept getting worse. That began a journey with her. Luckily for her, hers has progressed very slowly. She's still with us, but my father lost the ability to walk and to do certain motor functions. And lo and behold, he had Alzheimer's as well.
I am not a fearful person, but the thought of one or even both of us getting this disease really frightens me.
It's just huge. There's so many people out there, and people at my company at Ryder, everyone is touched somehow by this disease.
But at the Battle for the Brain kickoff this year, Dr. Levy told the crowd that the work they're doing there at Emory is not only for the next generation, but that could benefit us. And to me, that's what hope looks like.
For as long as I can remember, all the time, we call her Shisha or Shirley. Everything is about her was how she could give back to other people.
I think for me, it was hard seeing someone who was so kind and intelligent go from that to, not even being able to feed herself. It's been so incredible to see my mom build this thing up with Susan.
She saw something bad happen in her life. She didn't like it, so she said, I'm going to contribute to fighting the disease however I can.
I think for me, as I'm a cellular biologist by training, and having an organization like this be so devoted to the research is what I think makes them stand out above any other organization working on this disease.
They're working extremely diligently to work on new ways of addressing the disease, new tests, new drugs that are already coming to market. These guys are going to get it taken care of and get this disease knocked out.
Mom was having some memory issues, and then in 2019, I took her to the Emory Brain Health Center for evaluation.
It took a couple of years before they had an official diagnosis that in fact she had Alzheimer's.
And also there were no treatments.
And what we're seeing now, from what I understand, is there's these opportunities with the medicine that seems to be that it's bringing people's lights back on or extending their cognitive abilities.
I have 2 patients that are doing the therapy and seems to have stabilized their impairment. They're still living independently. So it's a big deal. It's very exciting.
She is still with us. She's got a terrific outlook. I'm not 100% confident that she knows my name when I walk in the door, but when I walk in, I say, hey, Ma. Her response is, hey, sweetie boy. That keeps me happy that she's happy.
It's been a slow journey. This is a disease that we've known about for over 100 years, and we haven't had any meaningful treatments to slow down the disease. And so, over the last year or two, the big breakthroughs have been our very first step with first treatments that can slow down the disease. That's huge. And this is only the beginning, so it's really a turning point for us to be able to know that we're headed in the right direction. That tells us that the next step is to improve the safety of the treatments, improve the effectiveness of the treatments, and most importantly, this same path might lead us to prevention. The Goisette Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, we have a remarkable team first of all. We're blessed to have some of the best faculty and staff and the community that's engaged with us around the country. I think there's also a lot of stigma that still comes with this disease that we have to get rid of. We have to really bring this out of the closet, bring out the awareness so that people get diagnosed and can make themselves available for these new treatments and the better ones yet to come.
Several years ago, Mom started the Healthy Brain Study.
He called me on the phone and said, we have found something. And so I went in, and at that point I met all the criteria. He said, okay, it's time, let's go. So I have just had my 27th injection. I feel so lucky to have found this program.
I think the fact that we have kind of a clear pathway forward, I think that that's just such a gift. I mean, it's a gift of creating more memories, being with the ones we love. And I think that that's the importance of this program.
I cannot say clearly enough that you make a difference. You make a difference in my life and in hers. And I thank you for the contributions you make to this program. And I'm very grateful for what you do to help these people do what they need to do to help us. So thank you.
The work that we do, up until just very recently, you could really say of the core diseases that we treat, we didn't cure anybody. We helped, we supported, but we didn't cure anybody.
I think we're in a new era right now in Alzheimer's disease. And it's exciting as a provider, and obviously a lot more exciting to the patients that there's something available that we can give people that really affects the underlying disease process.
It's called Leqembi, and it was the first one that's gotten standard FDA approval. This is not the end. This is really the start, but it's a really important start and such an exciting start.
You know, I think looking forward, we have some clinical trials underway now that are actually looking to see whether we can prevent the disease entirely from starting in the first place.
And that's where we are now, and we need to keep moving things forward to eradicate the disease altogether.
Thank you for all the support that you're giving us.
Well, as most people know, Susan and I founded Daughters Against Alzheimer's in honor of our mothers, and we are fighting not only for them, but we're fighting for everyone else's loved ones affected by this disease.
For the longest time, all the research was seemingly not making progress, but in fact, there were results that were coming out of it. They just weren't necessarily as visible back then, and it all had to do with recognizing that this is a disease that needs to be diagnosed early and treated early, really like almost any other chronic disease.
The toll this disease is taking on families is incomprehensible. On average, it takes 3 people to care for every 1 person affected. And that is why Alzheimer's is the costliest disease in the United States. And we definitely want to change that.
We always say that we're driven by the hope, and we do want you to know how genuine that is. But that hope, it's not just hope, it's hope put into action. It's hope that's taking us places. It's hope that's moving us down that path toward forgetting all's forever, which is our goal.
Yeah, this has just been a huge year. We have 2 FDA-approved drugs that are actually slowing cognitive decline. And when you combine those with the early diagnostic blood tests that we have been working on, we can stop cognitive decline from ever happening in the first place.
So we're on that path. You've been on that path with us, making it happen, but we're not to the finish line yet. There really is no finish line per se, but we're always looking for people to join the fight with us. We often talk about Daughters Against Alzheimer's funding this research, but it's you. It's you. You are Daughters Against Alzheimer's. And so we thank you so much for making a difference.
And as co-founders of Daughters Against Alzheimer's, it is our honor to lead this fight, and we're going to win it.
We're winning.
Your support is something that we are deeply appreciative of, and we do our best to be the best stewards possible.
What I'm asking everybody that's here tonight is to really be part of this hope.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for giving to the research, because that's how we're really going to hit this disease where it hurts.
You've been wonderful. You know, I think that.